Well, I'm Courtney Talmadge. I am the founder of Fledj. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present. I know we don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to go really fast, but I welcome any questions at the end and certainly any follow-on conversations afterwards. All right, so we're going to start here with the pile. I'm assuming that many of you in the room are familiar with it. Certainly, for anyone who has kids, it's practically inescapable. We're talking about the stuff that is outgrown, upgraded, unused, that sits around waiting to be dealt with. For me, the pile elicits a lot of guilt, a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelm. Um, it's a physical reminder of underutilization, at times overconsumption, and always an unchecked box on what feels like a never-ending to-do list. And these piles come about not because people don't care, it's actually quite the opposite, as many of you in this room know and feel. So at the beginning of the year, I set about conducting interviews. I did 27 with them, and what became abundantly clear to me is that it's really not lack of intention that's the problem, it's friction. People genuinely care about their stuff going to good use, and they care so much that they have a standard and that's why this becomes a problem. If it were easy to just put it in the trash, they would. But they genuinely care about where it goes and increasingly want to be able to um, see a direct connection to an end user. But the friction of peer-to-peer giving is so high and it just generates this untenable amount of mental load. And, what I've been hearing is that when the mental load gets too high, people understandably give up, and that's often when good things go in the trash. And so here's what some of those friction points or pain points look like in practice. What came through in my interviews was, the strain on your thumbs of having to type out a manual posting, be it on Buy Nothing or Facebook Marketplace. When it comes to Buy Nothing, the process of selecting a receiver for your item can feel really awkward or emotional for some. And then once you line up someone to take your thing, there's the back and forth messaging. Sometimes people are responsive, sometimes they're not. Um, there are often safety concerns, people wondering who's coming to their door. Is this a safe and good thing for me? And then lastly, there's a real no-show issue when we're talking about free items for which a lot of people don't have skin in the game. The messenger screenshot that I included was an actual conversation that I had with someone through Buy Nothing. I was trying to give away like a talking bear toy, and the person said they would come get it, and they didn't. The next day I followed up to say, hey, do you still want this? And the person just hearted the message and never responded and never showed up. So I wasn't quite sure what to do with that. And of course, life happens, we all get it, but it's some of those little friction moments that create the, anticipatory dread of the process and the procrastination. And then sometimes the false starts when you actually go to give away an item in a peer-to-peer setting. So I built Fledge. It has an answer to all of these pain points, and I'm going to walk you through some of the features. It's not going to be a live demo, but I'll just walk you through some of the key parts of the site. All right. So here we're looking at the process of posting an item on Fledge. It's really easy. You just snap a picture of your item and the platform writes the title and description. And then there are default settings that you can set in your profile that make it such that, you hardly have to touch many, if any, additional fields in order to post. So if you're someone who's kind of at the breaking point and you just need things gone, you can post in 15 to 30 seconds, put your item in its designated pickup spot, and then never think about it again. So really, really trying to lighten the mental load, especially for busy parents. All right. So I'll go into a little more depth here. So this is the second part of the posting flow, and I'll call attention up here to this audience selector. So different from, maybe some other platforms, Fledge gives you as the giver all of the control. So you get to decide who gets to see and claim your item. That could be friends only, could be members of select groups you're a part of, it could be neighbors within a customizable radius. This gives you the control over privacy and also perceived safety. But most importantly, this basically constitutes the trust infrastructure that underlies the whole platform. And one of the premises is that it's not just streamlined processes that make this better. It's the idea that when you interact with established communities, there is an inherent social contract. When you are exchanging an item, either giving or receiving with someone, let's say from, your kid's daycare or school community or religious community, they're probably less likely to be a jerk. They're probably less likely to be unresponsive or stand you up or be rude or anything like that. Um, and then the second part of this that I wanted to call out is there is a lottery option. So this is akin to Buy Nothing's concept of simmering, for those who are familiar. It's intended to be a fairer option for receivers. So it doesn't become this first come, first serve free for all, where the people who get the most stuff are the ones who can just sit online all day and claim items. So the idea is that a post can sit out for 24 hours, collect interest. Anyone who wants it can throw their hat in the ring. And then instead of the giver having to manually check back in and select someone on their own, the system just automatically runs the lottery and chooses a recipient in a fair and randomized way. Here is what you can see of the groups page. So this is how Fledge brings established communities into the platform. They're super quick and easy to set up. So again, think like, kid-related communities, schools, daycares, religious organizations, what have you, neighborhood associations. If you are an administrator, we've built certain features so that you can get these stood up really fast. There's so many existing communities already that we've made it easy to replicate them in Fledge without having to manually build up groups, one member at a time. I'll go fast through this, without going into much detail. There's a whole friend management system. And then there are two different account types. So we have individual accounts for personal use, and then we have organization accounts intended primarily for nonprofit use. And we'll talk about this a little bit more, but Emily, when you talked about I forget what the demo place was called, the like Smash Factory or whatever, it made me think it's like that would never be a place that would have occurred to me to go give things, but imagine they could have an account and say, hey, we'll take your broken plates or, your appliances that don't work and can't be reused. So anyway, we have a way to support organizations. And then shifting from, the giver side to the receiver side, this is what the browse experience looks like. It's a completely searchable and filterable catalog. So gone are the days of, posting something and not being able to find your post or being worried that if someone doesn't respond to it right away, it's going to get lost in the infinite scroll. We also solve the is this available messaging annoyance because the catalog is inventory aware. There's only the things that are available are here, and users can claim them or request lottery right from the browse screen. When it comes to scheduling, we provide a couple of automated flows to guide people towards a helpful structure to minimize, if not eliminate, back and forth messaging. So, if something is in set it and forget it mode or, porch pickup, whatever you want to call it, the receiver can just schedule a time directly, or if something requires more coordination, there's a process by which the receiver can propose their availability. And so it just takes a little bit of the administrative burden off of transaction partners, but also supports people using it flexibly and just coordinating via messaging. So trying to provide helpful structure without burdening people with it who want more flexibility. Um, in addition to being able to give away items, you can also request items. So these are the, in search of posts. You can ask to keep or to borrow. And for, I think especially helpful for organizations, you can also request that people drop off the item to you instead of you're having to pick it up from them. There is also a smart matching function. So if someone is posting an item that has an existing request out against it, we will make that match and say, hey, so and so is already looking for this. Do you want to just give it to them directly? So I try to play a bit of matchmaker and make sure that supply and demand is both satisfied. And then lastly, there's a dashboard where you can track the status of all of the items that you're either giving, receiving, or asking for. And I'll speak to you on here. You'll see a receiving reliability score. So every receiver has a score that gets built up over time based on how well they follow through with their claims and their pickups. And so, of course, there's the inherent social accountability, but where people are maybe transacting with strangers or where that social accountability still might break down, there is this built-in kind of forced platform accountability such that if you frequently cancel your claims or no show on your pickups, your score diminishes and that reduces your weight in the lottery and ultimately, if bad enough, limits who you can transact with on the site. So that's, kind of the direct answer to the no-show issue or the issue of people becoming unresponsive in the process. So it's a very quick run through. Again, I know we're short on time, but I do want to say my hope here is that fledj is very much complementary to and not competitive with other organizations in this room. When I think about resale and donation centers, as an example, I think fledj has the potential to accommodate items that might not meet quality standards or might not be taken because they're out of season or you're at capacity, or that might be too niche of an interest, or difficult to drop off. And my hope is also that it might pull people into the circular economy who prefer to transact online or who might require the convenience of, doing things from their doorstep. And then in regards to nonprofits who serve constituents with reused items, my hope is that this gives them a path to get in on the peer-to-peer action, and specifically voice or publicize their urgent needs, whether it's a particular clothing size or hey, Christmas decor isn't really what we need right now. It's winter coats or bedding or what have you. And lastly, for government agencies, we're tracking really granular data on waste diversion and economic impact from local reuse, and would be very happy to partner in sharing that. As far as where we are, the platform is built. I'm just in the process of bug testing and doing a final code review before we hopefully beta launch with a mom group in South Minneapolis in June. And then the plan is to spend the summer collecting feedback, iterating, and working towards a broader Twin Cities launch in the fall. For anyone who is open to it, a few ways that you can help. One is providing feedback. Any and all is a gift. If there are any risks to flag, gaps, improvement ideas, concerns, anything you see or think of, I would love to know. If you're aware of any, resources or potential partnerships that would be helpful, by all means share. And lastly, when we launch more broadly in the Twin Cities, I would really, really love support in getting the word out and maybe bringing your people onto the platform through any groups that you're a part of. So I've included my contact information here. If you use the QR code, it'll take you to my LinkedIn page, but please don't be shy. I really hope to hear from you, and thank you so much for the time.